development. I'm the brand and product manager for Giulia Stelvio and Tonale, which is the point where I should look. This is our 2023 Tonale. So as you guys know, I think if we can take a quick glance over this way, you know that for the last 5 years or so, Alfa Romeo has had these two models in the showroom, right? And along with 4C, so Giulia, and specifically is our Quadrifoglio high-performance car with 505 horsepower. And then our crossover, which has been wildly successful, Stelvio, right? So we had our best sales year ever in 2021, and the brand is profitable for the first time in the North American market. So we are very, very happy for both, and both product lines are profitable. So very, very, very happy about that point. What I will say is for Tonale, it's a new vehicle in the segment. It is kind of our first time reassessing entry into the brand, right? So this will compete with other vehicles like X1 from BMW, Q3 from Audi, GLA from Mercedes-Benz, and Lexus UX. It is our first hybrid, right? So it comes available as a gasoline engine with an available plug-in hybrid drivetrain. The vehicle pictured here is European specification. So just note that everything you see here may not be reflective of the final United States spec vehicle. So what I will tell you is that it is based on the kind of, what do we call this platform? CUSW, something like that, I think. I can always remember the acronym crazy at Alfa Romeo. So this particular paint is called Verde Fangio Tricoat, named after Juan Manuel Fangio, famous race car driver who drove for Alfa from 1936 to 1939. We also have a similar color called Grigio Escodri metallic, which is named for Alberto Escodri, who also drove for Alfa Romeo. This vehicle is equipped with wheels we will get in the US. These are the 20-inch 5-hole sport wheels. The Speciale is a launch edition in Europe. We will be getting our own Speciale for the US, but it'll have some different features. So this badge you will see again on the US launch model. This vehicle is also equipped with the optional 4-piston monoblock Brembo calipers, aluminum calipers. We have I think it's a 2-piston in the rear, which is highly unnecessary but highly necessary in the segment, right? So, if we take a look inside the car, right? So I would open the hood, but again, this is Euro spec, so it's a drivetrain we don't get. We have the classic Alfa Romeo 3-spoke steering wheel and the fantastic CNC machine paddles, right? So those are classic to Giulia and Stelvio. Door handles, vents, all that stuff, same as Stelvio, right? This car now features the latest in infotainment, so we have Uconnect 5 with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Also the power of Alexa, Amazon Alexa integration. Of course, you will need the Amazon Alexa app and a subscription to the Wi-Fi hotspot to enable that. Additionally, it is Google Home capable, so you will be able to link to your smart home and set everything from the car before you go. More on that later. Google Home integration, I think, comes a little bit after launch, so it'll be an over-the-air update. The vehicle also features over-the-air updates and firmware over-the-air updates. So, technology is a big a part of this car, as Jean-Philippe Imperato, who's the global CEO of Alfa Romeo, has said, Tonale really represents a turning point at Alfa Romeo, as it's really the start of a digital revolution at Alfa. It's a new relationship with the customer, right? In terms of, this is the first vehicle to launch in the Stellantis group with an NFT as standard. I am still struggling to understand NFTs, but I'll get back to you when I get the picture of that cat that's apparently worth $500,000 or something. But long story short, the NFT is essentially kind of like a Carfax that you don't pay for. It comes with the car. It's blockchain backed, right? So it's kind of unmesswithable, if you will, right? You can't forge it. You can't mess with it, and it tracks the entire vehicle's lifespan. So all the maintenance and the owner history and the dealer servicing and all that stuff goes and is integrated into the NFT, and it's a sellable. I believe it's sellable. Don't quote me on that, but it is pretty close to. It sticks with the car for the rest of its life, right? So it's like a birth certificate, right? So you guys can feel free to take a look inside Tonale. The vehicle you see here is a European spec car, as I mentioned, but the 12.3-inch cluster will greet you. It is in show mode, so I apologize for the lights. But the 12.3-inch cluster will greet you with what we call looking into the, it's kind of the eyes of Tonale looking into you, right? So we try to talk about kind of our brand is very emotional, or what we call #proudly Alfa Romeo, and the mechanics of emotion, right? So it's like the car stares back at you as you stare at it. And so the two drivetrains available for the vehicle will be, and I think this is what people are most interested in, a 2-liter turbo 4 from Giulia and Stelvio, just turned sideways, so it's transverse arrangement, with 256 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. We expect 0 to 60 approximately 6 seconds, and the same for the hybrid. So the hybrid will be a 1.3-liter, 1.3-liter 4-cylinder engine plus a 15.5 kilowatt battery, which will result in total system output of 272 horsepower. Now the torque rating is a little weird to measure because of the way electric motors work and the blended, it's kind of like a blended number. So we're still waiting on the final verification on torque, but we do have the horsepower verification at 272. So over 30 miles of electric range on the vehicle, right? So you could drive, my folks live in Westchester County, New York, and New Rochelle, so you could drive from there into Midtown and halfway back to Westchester before needing gas. And that is at highway speeds.
Nice.
So,
could you repeat the all gasoline engine? What the specs were?
It's a 2-liter, what we call our GME T4. So GME stands for the Global Medium Engine. It's 256 horsepower, 295 pound-feet. It is essentially the same engine that's in Giulia and Stelvio, just detuned slightly because it has to be turned sideways, so you can't get as big of an intake on the motor. But of course, I expect a lot of people to making these hot rod Tonales, wherever they are. One thing I'll show you around the front of the car, this is a new styling element for Tonale, is what we call the Trilobe, or the Trilobe LED headlamp. So if you're familiar with the history of Alfa Romeo, you know about the Alfa Romeo SZ, or Sprint Zagato from the 1980s. It was designed by, built by Zagato. I think it was designed by Centro Stile, or designed by Zagato. Please don't quote me. I'm not that anal retentive, but at any rate, it's this tri-lobe design that's similar to the SZ, where it had the 3 headlights on either side. And so it's going to be a unique styling element that features in all of our future Alfa Romeos going forward. And of course, the famous Scudetto grille. So what means Scudetto is Italian for shield, right? So the triangular grille actually does have a name. And if we take a look around the back, or actually around the side, right? We talk about one of the things that's been highlighted for us by Alejandro Mesoneros, who's our head of design, is what we call the GT line, which is this strong character line. Right? Whereas everybody likes to go crazy lines, angles, zigzags, and vents, right? The GT line is something that's featured on every Alfa Romeo since the 1960s, including the Giulia, the GTV, GTV6. The current Giulia has that same line. You can see it right up the side of the car there. You see that crease right up the side, and so does Stelvio. And then lastly, at the back, right, we have the Trilobe, again, the Trilobo theme, right, the Trilobe taillight. This is modeled after the Brera from 2005. And then we have what I love, which is a new feature for Alfa Romeo, is the script badge is returned, right, in the traditional Alfa Romeo font. So we have a power lift tailgate, of course. On the US model, I will point out that we will have dual exhaust as standard. So this is Euro spec again, so you will not see that here. You will have a dual chrome exhaust for the US spec vehicle. And so again, fairly standard for the segment, normal cargo space. I'd say we're about 3 inches longer than an X1. That's 6-7 inches shorter than Stelvio, just to give you an idea of size, right? So as we know, everything gets bigger over time, so our current cars will grow when they are eventually, they evolve, I should say. So it's a lovely car. Some of the options available on the car will include there we go, just didn't push hard enough. Some of the options available on the car will include, obviously, sunroof, leather interior, obviously. Standard on the top trim Veloce, which is our hybrid, is Alcantara interior. So you have full Alcantara seating and Alcantara dashboard with kind of a red undertone. Okay. So it's like red with Alcantara perforation and heated and cooled seats. So we will have heated and ventilated seats, first for Alfa Romeo ventilated seats. We have had heated seats for quite a while. We're really excited about it, and it's, the guy who did the chassis work on Tonale is the same guy who did 4C, 8C, and Giulia GTA. So we have a lot of faith, and we back that up by the fact that this car has full stability off. So we know that this car is going to be able to walk the walk and obviously talk the talk, right? So it'll dance.
Which means is there going to be a quadrifolio edition?
So we are cannot comment on future product at the moment. So no, that we actually we really don't know yet. The market really has to tell us whether or not they want a quadrifolio, right? So.
Well, I will tell you that I want a quadrifolio.
We will build one just for you. So it'll start with so orders start. Dealer orders start, I believe, in the fall. Customers can start ordering cars as early as November.
Okay.
Production begins in November, and cars will be delivered. The gas models will first be delivered in January, with the hybrids sometime in late Q3, ideally.
And the price range approximately?
It's competitive. So we haven't released official pricing yet, so I can't comment officially on pricing. But I would say it's competitive with segment competitors, right? So if you look to X1 GLA Q3, that'll give you an idea of what we think where we will probably land, right? But again, it offers more interior volume than all of those vehicles. So. Don't look at E-Pace.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's to me it's the most stylish car in the segment, and it is our first hybrid. And one of the things about Alfa that is wonderful is that I love working for a brand that has a wonderful story, right? And so when you think about the people who helped found this brand, like Enzo Ferrari, right? There would be no Ferrari if it wasn't for Alfa Romeo.
Valid.
Right? So this car is kind of marking the turning point in Alfa Romeo's history, that as of 2027, all cars will be electric from Alfa Romeo. Right? So this is the beginning of that journey on what we call la metamorfosi, which is the metamorphosis.
Okay.
Right? So for any more information, obviously feel free to reach out to Nick or alfaromeousa.com.
Okay.
Wheel options, I guess while I'm talking about it, the car comes standard on an 18. Veloce, which is the top trim, comes standard on a 19 with a machined finish, like a diamond cut finish, and then you'll have an optional 20 on the trim level, on 2 of the 3 trim levels. So your trim levels are Sprint, which is the base, TI is your mid-level, and then Veloce is your top, also your sportiest trim. So, yep. So it's a wonderful, wonderful car. And then, of course, Harman Kardon audio is also optional, 14-speaker system. So, okay?
Cool. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I hope you guys enjoy it. Feel free to sit inside the car, poke around, take beauty shots.
Thank you.
Do whatever you like.
Much appreciated.
Anytime. Enjoy. It is pretty. Where you guys like me to stand? Yeah, once they're out of the way.